Whakalofalai atu, ta alofa lava, kia ora koutou. Mr Vasau, Rowandale School. Thank you for joining me again in these little talanoa or discussions. And these discussions are about myself talking with you and helping you build your knowledge and your skills, but how better to support your children at home during this lockdown period. One of the things that underpins a lot of what we talk about in these sessions is Talanoa. And just to remind you, if you haven't seen the other ones, this might be your first time tuning into this guy thinking, oh, who is this man? Well, if you're one of my fans, you'll already know that it's about loving, respectful, humorous, and warm Talanoa, conversations, connections, relationships, in a safe environment where people are respecting each other and in real honest dialogue. So that's what Talanoa is, and that's what underpins this discussion today. So where am I going? So I thought I might share with you how you could create a love of reading. And reading is so important because it opens so many doors to our young people and to our families and to ourselves. And it is a skill that we really need to nurture and grow. But I want to make sure that you've got the skill in your home to grow a love of reading and the importance of that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about what it looks like, feels like, sounds like. So if I was a home where I was nurturing love of reading, what would those things look like? How do I nurture these? How do I build these? And of course, how do I know I've got there in the end? So that's important, and those will focus us today. First and foremost, reading needs to be for pleasure. And you need to create an environment at home where children, young people, adults read for pleasure. And I'm talking about reading what you want to read, reading things that interest you, reading your topics that you love, and making sure that you are providing things for your children to read if that's where they're going. Say, for example, in front of me right now, I have a whole lot of comics. And comics, you know, boys, girls, whoever, they love and they enjoy reading comics. Sometimes it's all about the pictures, sometimes it's about the storyline. How would we see Thor? How would we see the Avengers if they didn't start out in comic form? Now they're multi-billion-dollar movies. And so it's important for us to show children and to provide them with resources like this to grow that love of learning, to read for pleasure. How do you do it? So if I came to a home, if I was creating an environment at my house where I wanted to create a love of reading, I would make sure that it's timetabled every day. There'll be a special time. It's important for your children to see you reading as well, to see you enjoying that reading. So if they see mum and dad or auntie or uncle reading, they may also enjoy seeing that, and they might build their love and their desire to want to love reading. You need to have a good example, a good amount of reading to, with, and listening to them as well. So there needs to be a balance. They need to hear you articulating words and reading something to them. They need to be also able to read to you, and they need to also see or hear others reading, because it's important that you create that environment where reading is loved in your home. You could use other platforms. So you don't just need to read books. So you can pick up your phone, you can have a look at the news, you can watch the broadcast from the Prime Minister in relation to the latest updates of COVID, and then you can read a little bit about what the reporters are saying and unpacking it underneath. There are so many ways you can create learning opportunities, reading opportunities in your home to grow that love of reading. It's important that you also hear your own child reading, because it's when you hear them reading that you'll know where are their gaps, what are they struggling with, and how can I better support them with their reading at home. One way is if you know that, so you've got all these amazing packs from the Ministry of Education, these home reading packs. One of the things in there, they've got these journals in it. And these journals are full of different stories and different examples of writing where children can read. Whole lot of pictures. There's a whole lot of different poems. There's real life. There's fantasy. There's fiction, non-fiction. All these different things in here that you can work with your child with these wonderful resources that were given to you from the ministry. So these are things here that could help you grow that love of reading. But you need to be able to hear them. So you need to be able to. But say, for example, you found something that's a little bit difficult. So children love the fact that if they get to the point where I can read a novel, They don't have to start reading a novel. You could read it with them. So you could start a novel together. And you could talk about the front. You can go through the processes of the novel. You could even just say to them, right, what do you think this is about? Oh, okay, what do you think is going to happen next? So you're using these questions, and I'll talk to you about the importance of these prompting questions as well. But they're going to hear you. You're going to go on the journey. They can sit there and listen to you read the novel to them. So it's important and vital that you model reading practice as well in your homes. You need to read aloud. Now, there's some strategies. I'm going to introduce you to 3 of them. Pause, prompt, and also praise. So they get to a word they don't know. Pause. Don't say it too quick. Give them time to, give them time to sound it out. Prompt them. What does it look like? Have a look at the picture. Can you see any clues? What were you reading beforehand? What's the story about? Yay. And when they do succeed, praise them. If they're not able to read the word, still praise them. Say, good try. Well done. Because it's important that they see success and they feel like reading is not going to get them in trouble. If you feel your blood pressure getting a little bit high and, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I just told you that word earlier, walk away, finish it off. Ask them, shall we do something else? And we come back to this. Because the last thing you want to do in a home that loves reading is create an environment where they're afraid to read because they don't want to make any mistakes or they want to make you proud. So show them how proud you are with their mistakes. Show them how proud you are with those. And if you have any problems in relation to finding some prompts or some cues that you could use, ask your teacher at school. They've got heaps of them that they use in their classroom. You could even step up the love of reading. So you can start doing the origin of this word, Latin, blah, all of those things. You can look for what they call the base word. So if you look at the word love, you could say, what else uses love? Lovable, loving, loved. And so you can look at creating or introducing concepts like that grows a love of words itself. And then they'll want to read more and they want to look at where it comes from and where it's derived. Different languages, look at their name. Reading names in families and in your own child, they tell a story. So look at where the name evolved, where it originated, and what it means to your family. Who else has got this name? Why do I have this name? Whole lot of different things that you can do to grow that love of reading. There are so many fun things that are on now. So you've all seen those ads about Goodnight Kiwi. So people flash people reading stories to children. It's important to show these celebrities, showing them reading to children. A lot of low decile schools have what they call Duffy schools, where we get heroes in to talk about the importance of reading. It's so important that our children see that reading is a way in which they can open up their world, a way in which can open up your home, better communication. It can open up the prospects of children. And so it's important that you see that as well and you nurture that and you grow that in your homes. Apart from that, one easy way, join your local library. Once lockdown changes to a different level where libraries are open, I reckon you should get down there, you should join up, and you should take your books back on time and return them and not get all these fines, but also show your kid that look at all these books, look at all these sections that you could explore, look at all these wonderful different fictions. So we've got, real life biographies. Here's a really famous guy, Willie Apiata. So, you could look at books like this to grow that love of reading for your child. Books on tattoos in the frontier. It's a funny one. Children at school in the book club, they always use this, Captain Underpants. And, some people say, why are my kids wanting to read Captain Underpants? We will never understand why our children find these things amazing, but let's nurture it, let's grow it, let's try and read it ourselves. Let's see if there's something really interesting in here that the kids are hooked on. You never know, you might be asking your child to choose this book for you. So the whole idea of the talk today was about creating a love of reading, and it's really, really important. So let's see if we've done that. What is this going to look like? You're going to have books in your house. You're going to have books on the table. You're going to regularly talk about reading. You're going to have it timetabled. We all remember those SSR times that we used to come in from play, some of us older people, and we used to have to sustain silent reading and sit down and read your book for a certain time. Every time that happened, I remember Miss Whiskers at the front reading her book and making sure that she saw that, and we'd look up and we'd be pretending sometimes we didn't know what we were reading. But hey, it grew a love of reading for me. because I was able to see someone modelling it to me. What else? How else will we know? We'll have our children using these amazing words, talking talanoa with these phrases like, where did you learn that word? Sometimes my 4-year-old son comes home, and one time he was trying to get into the car, and I said to him, look son, hurry quickly, we've got to go. He turned to me and he said, Tara, you got to have patience. Where on earth did my lovely boy get that word? I reckon it was a word that they used at kindy that day in the story. Children remember these things, especially when you show a love of reading yourself, especially if you show these lovely words. It's a tool, it's a skill, and it's something that is so important in order for our communities, for our homes to flourish and to nurture that love of reading. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa, whakaau e lahi mahaki, whawhatai tele lava.